Hello and welcome to today's broadcast. Da, da, ta-da! Hope everybody's well. Just a quick update. I'm always interested in the progression of fascism and how we're doing with enabling democracy and enabling humanity's much needed upper level skills to come through. Fascism holds back humanity's better self, and democracy enables our problem solving abilities to rise to the forefront, to rise to meet any occasion, such as climate crises, problems with pollution, heat pollution, the problems of persistent injustice, racial injustice, racist environmental injustice, all manner of problems that beset humanity. Many of us can get complacent or tamp down that anxiety by reassuring ourselves subconsciously that we're not part of a demographic that's likely to be affected. I can see people around me do this. They're like, oh, the problem with guns in the United States, it's not going to affect me. It affects everybody. If you pee in a pool, you're not safe at the other end of the pool. We share a planet, we share a biosphere, and in the United States, we all live in this nation, and state borders are sufficiently porous that you can't say you can be totally free from anxiety that gun culture might result in an incident happening in your state where those you love or you yourself or your friends and family may be psychologically affected, may be physically affected, may be emotionally devastated by a death as a consequence of pro-gun proliferation conservatives getting their mitts on too much power to unreasonably dominate other people. Anyway, let's go to today's topic, which is the Don't Say Gay law, that casually, colloquially described as DeSantis's Don't Say Gay law in Twitter world, but in fact, a lot of places it's called the Don't Say Gay law. I can see the Associated Press using that term here. He signed a bill today that gives Floridian Governor Ron DeSantis control of Walt Disney World's self-governing district. So previously, Walt Disney World, Disney's has had an area where they have operated distinctly from the state government of Florida. And that's been very financially beneficial to the state of Florida. And there's been some mutually beneficial relationship there, a symbiosis, if you will. But DeSantis is deciding it better suits him if he can embark on a profile-raising campaign, considering he's running to challenge Donald Trump for in the primary campaign to determine who will be the Republican candidate in the next presidential election in 2024. Now, having a high profile is obviously something desirable to Ron DeSantis. He has a lot of obstacles to overcome in order to be the Republican candidate, because there's a lot of hyper loyalist cult members who are still super loyal to Donald Trump. And look, so Disney is getting punished for having listened to enough of its audience who spoke out when a law came into effect to make being gay less acceptable in Florida, as part of DeSantis's profile-raising campaign to fabricate a culture war, with real victims being children in schools who are curious, who are gender fluid, or whose sexuality might lean to or openly be interested in being categorized as LGBTQA. Is there another letter? I'm not the leftiest person in the whole world. I'm a staunch opponent of communism, but I believe in human rights and human dignity, and certainly in the rights and dignity of children in Florida and in various states across the United States where it's become the flavor of the month in a lot of conservative strongholds to have legislation passed that picks on these children, that attenuates their rights to use a bathroom that is concordant with their gender presentation, how they dress, how they present themselves to the world. So if, I don't need to go into it because this is a very brief broadcast. I have to go. But yes, I'm supporting Disney today. Disney will now be relieved of apparently a huge maintenance expense that the city will now be on the hook for. So yes, DeSantis is winning emotional plaudits, but he's costing Floridian taxpayers more money. But he's doing that so he can be the topic of conversation. He's doing it so he can stick it to the lips. Oh, Christopher's here and says I'm a good teacher and a good person. Thank you for the positive feedback, Christopher. It's my fuel. I certainly appreciate it. And I want to do more of it because we all have to literally play our part when times reveal themselves to be this challenging. Racism has always been there, ebbing and flowing, sometimes escalating in consequences every time some civil rights progress is felt or the impact is felt more broadly, then there's a racist backlash. But these times are notable because racism is used as the fuel for fascists. Racism, racist impulses, racist biases help the type of con artists, demagogues like Trump, who use fake patriotism to win followers, win loyalty, to create some kind of tribal enthusiasms that evolve out of denigrating minorities, using hate rhetoric to imply that there's an external threat coming, or to fearmonger about external threats and amplify or pridemonger, delusional pridemonger, whip up false feelings of superiority amongst people belonging to a certain self-identified tribe. Say, for example, the deplorables that have clustered around Trump, the MAGA hat wearing crew that have stuck to him through thick and thin, even as he visibly and potently incited an insurrection resulting in injury to over 140 police officers and the desecration of America's Capitol building on January the 6th in 2021, as well as completely botch America's COVID response in 2020, setting off a chain reaction that has resulted in ever-expanding vaccine resistance, which results in expanding disease outbreaks from even other diseases such as measles and chickenpox, because more people hook their intellectual wagons to the idea that they are fighters resisting authority. It's so easy to inflame delusions in people because humans are creatures of imagination who are very susceptible to con artists. That's all I can say for today. I've got to go. But it was so lovely chatting. If you enjoyed the broadcast, brief as it was, consider following and subscribing my Twitter channel, because you might get notifications then if I broadcast tomorrow. If you want to see more of this face and hear this voice, tune in for more. I'm working on my ability to deliver pithy political analysis because we all have to do what we can to oppose the tide of fascism, fascist disinformation, and the stickiness of persistent racism and its practices and policies in the real world. Cheers, everyone. Thanks, Christopher. Thanks, Bob. Bye. Thanks. Take care, everybody.